Hi, everybody. It's Lindsay from High Altitude Astrology. And today I'm bringing you a video about sextiling Jupiter and Neptune. So Jupiter's transiting, as you can see in this chart, at 17 degrees of Capricorn. And here we have Neptune at 17 degrees of Pisces. So today, February 20th, is the first time these two are making contact, and it's going to be a series of contacts between now and October. And to be more specific, we are talking today, which is February 20th. Then they're going to connect again when Jupiter is retrograde, and this will be in July on the 27th. And then they're going to connect one more time after Jupiter comes direct in September, and they will meet again on the 12th of October. So there's a lot of talk about this transit in the astrology world because it is a kind of a positive feeling energy. And I will attempt to explain why. So let's start with Jupiter. Jupiter is the sign of joy and enthusiasm. It also has to do with wisdom. It has to do with perspective expansion, gained through understanding from what you might call the higher mind, or just through looking at life through a bigger lens and being able to understand connections and patterns. And really, though, it has more of a philosophical bent to it. So it is about how we grow and expand through new perspectives, new philosophies, new wisdom. And the sign of Capricorn has to do with work and effort and personal authority. So there's something very kind of grounding about this Jupiter and Capricorn energy because, well, some say that Jupiter in this position of Capricorn is actually considered to be in its fall, which just means that it's a little bit harder for Jupiter to operate in this energy because Jupiter is all about this expansive energy, where Capricorn is more about this solidity and this grounding and this stabilizing energy. Again, I see this as a positive thing. I just think it can require perhaps some more awareness and more effort, because it's almost like Jupiter is being harnessed a little bit in this Capricornian energy at this time. But I feel that that's a positive. I feel that sometimes, with Jupiter, it can get too big and the ideas are so grand that it's not really grounded in reality. So this is an opportunity to really ground perspective, ground new perspective, ground wisdom, ground expansion of our perspective in a more, earthy Capricorn, responsible way. And I wanted to just read from, this is Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook. What he says of Jupiter is that Jupiter is how we seek to grow, improve ourselves, and experience trust in life. So in the sign of Capricorn, we are seeking to grow and improve ourselves by hard work, discipline, and steady progress, self-control, confident conservatism in order to improve ourselves. And experiencing faith and trust is based on reality, experience, and one's innate understanding of the value of history and tradition. Opportunities come through one's ability to be reliable, responsible, and patient. Now, what's interesting is this is happening just before Jupiter's getting ready to go through a conjunction with Pluto and Saturn. And this is related back to the conjunction of Pluto and Saturn back at the beginning of the year, and how Jupiter now is going to be touching base with these two energies and really beginning to help us take what this conjunction is all about, which is really about our personal authority through transformation. This is really about really grounding and transforming a lot of patterns that are based on sort of an outmoded expression of the Capricornian energy of tradition and history and patriarchy and those kinds of things. So Jupiter is going to come along and really kind of expand on this energy in a positive way, I believe. But we're getting a taste right now with Jupiter and Capricorn of just what it's going to take, the effort that it's going to take in order to expand our perspective in these new ways. But we're getting kind of a uplifting connection with Jupiter and Neptune beforehand. And let's talk about Neptune and Pisces. Neptune is all about a very spiritual perspective. It's about the mystic. It's about wanting to connect with something that's larger than ourselves, larger than our small ego, wanting to experience the divine. And so it's very comfortable in Pisces because Pisces is ruled by Neptune. And so if we're expressing Neptune in Pisces, it's like just this double whammy of like compassion and sensitivity and this experience of greater love and ability to contact transcendent awareness. So Jupiter, though, is bringing a bit of a groundedness to this Neptune and Pisces, which can just be so boundless and so in some ways kind of vulnerable, because we just want to feel that divine spirit within ourselves and share it with others. But Capricorn, Jupiter and Capricorn is kind of saying, and we need to have boundaries. That's Capricorn. We need to have structure. It's great to have new perspective and expanded perspective, but it is in this more grounded way. So these two are meeting and really helping each other. You know, it's like they're compatible in a sextile, which is the degrees, the 60 degrees that are between the two. But it's really saying that we're not going to necessarily sort of go off the rails with the Neptunian energy of just like, you know, so open that we're vulnerable, or so open that we don't have structure and boundaries in the midst of incorporating new awareness into our lives. One of the things I wrote down about this particular connection is to have compassionate boundaries. Compassion is all about Neptune and Pisces, but boundaries is definitely Jupiter and Capricorn. Again, Jupiter wants to expand our perspective. Jupiter wants growth and optimism, but Saturn's in like this very methodical way. Saturn's in this very structured way. And so that can kind of help the Neptunian energy that may at sometimes not recognize the need for that kind of structure. This is also a good opportunity, I feel, to address any addiction issues that any of us may be going through right now. Neptune and Pisces can highlight our addictions because, again, if Neptune and Pisces is about transcending, sometimes we want to connect with the divine in a very easy way. And of course, drugs and alcohol are the way that can get us there really quickly, but the aftermath can lead to disorientation and addiction. And so Jupiter, if we're growing and we're creating new perspective, and if we are incorporating new philosophies in the sign of Capricorn. That's like structure and form, and it can be a time where we can really create new boundaries around those addictions that we might be dealing with. And this can be anything. This can be addiction to food, social media, alcohol, drugs, relationships, anything that really just we use as a crutch, or we have come to become so reliant upon that we can't even find ourselves in the midst of it anymore. This energy can be very, very helpful for cracking those addictions, and especially as Jupiter then moves over Pluto and Saturn moving forward, because it's going to be a time, if we look at Pluto, that's all about transformation and looking at the shadow. And then again, Saturn is about structure and form. So, this connection that's happening with Jupiter and Neptune now may be highlighting where we may need to address some things. And as Jupiter goes over Pluto and Saturn, this could also be an opportunity to really look at some of those how we can take action to healing some of those issues. So it's interesting because Jupiter conjuncts Pluto April 4th, but then Jupiter goes retrograde around the 14th of May. So it's not actually going to meet up with Saturn yet. And it's going to come back and meet up with Pluto one more time, two more times, I should say. As we move forward, you can see here, in its retrograde, it meets with Pluto again in June, and then it goes direct in September, and it meets up with the sextile to Neptune on October 12th, and then finally we'll catch up to Pluto at the end of November. So, or excuse me, the middle of November, around November 12th. And this is all before it even gets to Saturn. So really, what this is saying is that this Jupiter sextiling Neptune is going to give us an opportunity to see any patterns that we might be stuck in, and be able to then, as Jupiter goes over the Pluto energy, work at the transformation that's required in order to heal these patterns. So I went a little bit further than I had expected, and I will definitely be doing another video about the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. But it just goes to show you how a lot of these patterns kind of it's hard to even isolate just one of them, because they all are like a big, huge clock that's got all these working parts working together in order to tell the time. The other thing that I wanted to say about this transit between Jupiter and Neptune, well, there's a few things. I think that this transit is going to help us open up our consciousness, open up our awareness to being more fluid. So that's what Neptune and Pisces is all about. It's this very fluid, dreamy, flowy state that can be very connected to the divine, to universal love. And I think Jupiter and Capricorn, in this combination with it, it's going to help us open our perspective, expand our awareness by tapping into this Neptunian energy, which will help us kind of navigate as we're moving through the world and we encounter resistance. I feel that the Jupiter and Capricorn energy is kind of going to give us a little bit more of like a self-control, while the Neptune and Pisces is going to help us sort of move on or move forward and navigate away from that which is not in our flow. And I think this is a very poignant kind of thing that's going on right now collectively in the consciousness, because there's so much polarity and so much this camp and this perspective versus that perspective. And really what spirituality and divinity and all these kind of Neptunian things are all about is being able to transcend that, not in a way that's like, don't look at it, it doesn't exist per se, but how we choose to engage with it is then whether or not we become kind of entangled in it and taken over by it in a sense, versus choosing or having some control over how we want to perceive things, how we want to grow and expand our consciousness, and essentially choosing what we want to focus our energy on, where we want to focus our energy moving forward in order to expand and grow our own world. I hope I'm explaining that, but I sense it in my own life. I feel that I often am coming up with my own experience and having to, in a sense, choose how I want to navigate it. And it does take personal authority. It does take self-responsibility to not kind of get dragged into the almost like wanting to be on top or wanting to be right, or it's bringing up how to navigate these challenges that we are facing in these sort of crises of perspective, really. And there's something about being able to become fluid and go more with a flow, and not really, and have compassion and have an open heart, but at the same time know where you stand, or know where it is you want your growth to go, really. And if it's not in alignment, you can kind of move on. It doesn't have to be this battle with others, but it has something to do with how you choose to navigate it, that either creates more of a battle or allows you to kind of gracefully sort of move forward. And the other thing I wanted to say about it is I feel, especially like with social media, which this Neptune in Pisces has been all about, like this portrayal of sort of this ideal life, that can happen on social media. And I feel that this Jupiter in Capricorn is bringing, well, there's a few transits that are doing this, but I feel this Jupiter in Capricorn is kind of bringing a more grounded tone to what we may see on social media moving forward, that actually makes us realize that this image that might be being portrayed is not necessarily really a reflection of something on an ethical and moral level. Those are Jupiterian qualities that is in alignment with personal honor. Sometimes I look at social media these days and I'm sort of like amazed by it, because I don't identify with what I'm seeing at this point with something that I'm even, attracted to, maybe as I had been in the past. I'm almost seeing like this more Saturnian, through this Saturnian lens, just like, gosh, that looks odd to me. It doesn't even look beautiful, it looks just sort of, I don't know if vain's the right word, but there's something about it that is not as appealing anymore. It's more I'm seeing through something, seeing through a veil. And this isn't a judgment. It's just kind of an awareness of collectively where our consciousness may be headed as we are going into this Jupiter Neptune transit for the next several months. It's like what the way we want to expand and grow, and how we portray that through these social media images just might be going through some kind of change, and there will be more to see around that, I suppose, as we move forward. I think I want to leave you with an interesting quote that I've found by Plotinus, and I believe he was a Greek philosopher. And this is what he says: "Withdraw into yourself and look, and if you do not find yourself beautiful yet, act as does the creator of a statue, so that is to be made beautiful. He cuts away here, he smooths there, he makes this line lighter, this other purer, until a lovely face has grown upon his work." So good luck with this Jupiter-Neptune transit. Please leave any comments you'd like about this transit below. If you like my channel, please subscribe. I appreciate it so much. And just want to say thank you so much. Take care.